Welcome to the Peng Sports Podcast, episode 29. It is 7:29. And for the first time this Sunday, I saw the movie School of Rock. And I have to admit, it lived up to the hype. A very, very good movie. Maybe Jack Black's best movie. Jumanji was good. You know, he has some other good movies. The wrestling movie, I've never seen that one. I've seen bits and pieces of it. But School of Rock lived up to the hype. I will admit that. It's sort of difficult to mess up those movies. And I believe that they don't make enough movies like that. A simple theme, simple concept, but good acting, good child acting, a good lead. Just have a good concept and execute. That's the essentials for a good children's movie that adults can enjoy as well. School of Rock, highly suggested, good movie. They could have really made a bunch of spin-offs of that. School of Rap, School of Broadway, School of Opera. I'm a thinker. I'm a planner, a header. I guess they thought one off, good enough. We don't milk this as much as we can. Respectable. Definitely respectable. I'm Kamal Daniels. It is 7:31 a.m. and it is the 15th of September. How are you guys doing this week? How are you guys doing today? Appreciate today and what it brings and what it may hold. Or if you listen to this on Friday or Thursday or Sunday or Monday, appreciate Mondays. I just realized this weekend that my favorite day of the week is Sunday. To most people, it's not, because they're just looking forward to Monday. But if you live in the moment and appreciate the Sunday, you realize it's your chillest day. No one calls you on a Sunday. Maybe a few texts, but no one really calls you on a Sunday. It's a chill day for you to catch up, get things organized, right? But people don't take it like that. People think it's hectic because right before Monday. If you take it how it is, take Sunday at face value, and don't try to manipulate it into something else. Don't try to manipulate it into Monday. Just take it as Sunday, and I guarantee you, you will enjoy your Sundays a little bit more. As I said, today is the 15th and yesterday was the 14th. Do you know what today and yesterday have in common? The Champions League. And I need for you all to appreciate, don't depreciate, appreciate the Champions League for what it's worth. Young Boys beat Manchester United yesterday. A lot of good came out of that game. It could have been a bad one. It could have been a 3-0 grudge match, Manchester United victory. Matches score, Maguire scores, Shaw score, grudge match, not very great football. I was going to say very beautiful, but not great football. Creditable football, but not great football. Yesterday we got Ronaldo a goal. Young Boys comes back 2-1. Take it at face value. Young Boys lost. Young Boys won. Manchester United lost. Face value. Don't worry about the future. Because I guarantee you, who does Manchester United have to play again? That's the great thing about the Champions League. You play every team at least twice unless you make the final. Every single round, you play the team at least twice. Which sort of doesn't make sense for the final, right? It's just a one-off game, even though everything's been two-off games. Would Manchester City, would they have won last year if the Champions League final was a two-off game? Comment down below. I'm curious to hear your answers. But yes, Manchester United did lose. But they'll be back. They'll probably advance in that group, 100%. Not 100%, but I'm pretty confident they will. Right? And I think that's what we're going to have to expect from Manchester United. Being a really good, really great, I must say, home side. They'll probably beat Man City at home. They'll probably beat Spurs at home. They'll probably beat... I don't know if they'll beat Liverpool and Chelsea at home. But they'll become more competitive at home. But away from the ground, away from Old Trafford, expect a loss to a Crystal Palace. Expect a loss to a Burnley. Expect a tie to a Everton. Maybe not a tie to a Everton. Maybe that'd be a loss. But expect those results. But at home, expect them to be very dominant. It's one of those things, right? It's one of those things. I was going to touch on this with the Chiefs maybe another time, but I touched on it right now. We're talking about it. The Chiefs, I believe, are an early season home side, like Manchester United. If there were two teams who were just like each other, parallels in the two footballs, it would be the Chiefs and Manchester United. I may have said 49ers earlier, but Manchester United and the Chiefs are parallels in the football worlds. NFL, EPL. Where early season home games, they're going to be a lot better than away games. Because at home, you're going to try a little bit more stuff. What's Patrick Mahomes really good at doing when he's trying? Throwing off the back foot. No-look passes. When's Bruno Fernandes the best? At home. Trying. Shooting from outside the box. Just dribbling a little bit better. Great pass assist to Ronaldo yesterday. I will say that. Just because they're at home doesn't mean they don't ball. But they're just better away from home and early in the season. When you're in week 1, right? Nothing, no risk. Patrick Mahomes is slinging it. No risk. We lose this game, no risk. Playoffs, he gets a little bit more tight. He runs a little bit more, right? Bruno Fernandes may not take 2 to 3 people on because if he loses it, the risk versus reward, you know? My nose is itching right now. But like the Chiefs and like Manchester United, winning at home and being good early in the season usually pays off. Because usually you can figure some things out. You can figure out your home side. So you can plan a little bit better the away games later in the season. We got home games in the bag. Let's just really analyze and really have great tactics away games. So there's pros and cons to both. But I didn't want to really get in football talk. We'll get into that a little bit later, NFL football talk. But this weekend, Manchester United plays West Ham. I need to check who's home in that because determining who's home, again, I think West Ham are a home side as well. I don't know if they're an early season side, but West Ham, Manchester United. Also Chelsea Spurs. That'll be an interesting one, right? Will Spurs be able to bounce back after that Crystal Palace loss? Games like that are really fun to watch. Crystal Palace games, those games where they score like 3-0 in 20 minutes, 3 goals in 20 minutes, where the score was 3-0, but they scored 3 goals in 20 minutes. I remember that Denmark-Russia game, right? And Euros. Game wasn't close. I believe it was a 4-1 victory Denmark. But it was just really exciting, really exhilarating. It was Crystal Palace's first win of the season. Good for Patrick Vieira. I don't think Crystal Palace is going to go down. I think they have something there. I really think they do. Arsenal, another team in London, beat Norwich. Again, I will say it again. Trust the process in North London. Trust the process. You lose to Norwich? Okay. They play Burnley this week. Let's see what's up. They should beat Burnley, but I won't be shocked if it's a 1-1 tie. Preferably for Mikel Arteta, of course, he would like to beat Burnley. I think they can beat Burnley, but this is what's supposed to happen, right? You beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Norwich, West Brom, so far they're 2-0. And if you lose to Manchester City, preferably not 5-0. And if you lose to, who else have they lost to? They've had a tough schedule. They're about to play Spurs. They played City. They played Chelsea. I think that's it. Anyways, Manchester City Leipzig played today, Champions League. Leipzig lost to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich beats everyone though, so take that with a grain of salt. Also, I don't understand why teams don't wear their home jerseys at home. It's cool. Barcelona, your third jerseys. There's a segue from Barcelona to they lose to everyone, and then Barcelona. I'm talking about Barcelona and Bayern Munich right now, if you didn't catch it. They were the third kits, right? Barcelona. I guess I have a kids problem with Barcelona because I didn't like their home kits at first. Now I do. But they wore their third kits at home, which I never understood. Wear your home kits at home and your third kit and your away kit away. It didn't work for PSG, and it didn't work for them last night. PSG, when they played Manchester United. Remember Lukaku? Lukaku scored. May have had a brace. Rashford scores last minute penalty. You know the story. Big game of the day. Today in Champions League. Inter versus Real. It will be entertaining. Trust me. And if that's not your cup of tea, you can watch another Milan side, AC Milan versus Liverpool. Amen. Check it out. Champions League 2021. This year, there's literally no favorite. There's no favorite. Manchester City could win it. Bayern Munich could win it. Liverpool could win it. I think Atletico have a good shot at winning it. Manchester United aren't a far stretch from winning it. But I definitely think there's no favorite this year. At all. Good teams. Great teams, honestly. Favorites, no. Chelsea, I guess, are favorites too. PSG, of course. PSG, for me, probably not. Liverpool beat Leeds. Mo Salah scores his 100th goal. And Everton beat Burnley. Good weekend of football, man. Another good weekend of Premier League. Another good week of Champions League coming up. I sound like a car sales serviceman. A car sales serviceman or woman. That's what I sound like. Premier League, Champions League, you got it, we got it. You got it, we got it. So, to the National Football League. The rookie QBs look good. Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, even with his limited snaps. Trey Lance. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, I just saw highlights though. I have to admit that. So, seeing their whole games, didn't see it. But their highlights look good. Wilson especially looked good because Trey Lance didn't play that much. He did, but he didn't play that much. Zach Wilson, though, threw every ball with confidence. I believe that there was a deep ball that he threw. It may have been the third quarter against the Panthers. Deep ball. It looked catchable. All of his footballs looked very catchable. I will say that. It was deflected, though. Deep ball deflected, incomplete pass. But I remember looking at that highlight and being like, okay, that looks good. And I know it's week 1. I know it was his highlight reel. But I think there may have to be an apology in order soon for Zach Wilson. And he may be the best out of the bunch. He throws the best ball. He seems to be the most elusive out of everyone. And he's a Aaron Rodgers kind of elusive, if that makes sense. Not crazy fast, but he's like a fox. He can get the job done. Zach Wilson, also like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, did not win this week. The Saints were home but away, but they were in my home. So where does that really leave us, right? And honestly, I think playing in the afternoon, a time where Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in Jacksonville, stymied Aaron Rodgers. I really do. Excuse, maybe. I don't think so. He was also playing a decent team. I'll be honest with you. Most of the time when Aaron Rodgers plays Jacksonville, and most of the time when when teams come to Florida and play Tampa, who used to be like Jacksonville, it's a relaxation time. In Jacksonville, we know what's going on. That's why we're not too mad about if Trevor Lawrence will be a bust. We don't get too hung up about hiring a first-year coach ever when we get a first-year quarterback in Urban Meyer. We're not too hung up. It's Jacksonville. You know? Relaxation. That's what we know the NFL has this team. We know. We know our role in the NFL. Doesn't mean we can't have a good team, though. Relaxation. That is why they have Florida teams, ladies and gentlemen. Miami's different, though. It's a break, but it's not a relaxation break. It's an escape. Warm weather. It's just different vibes in Miami. It's different than Tampa and Jacksonville, if that makes sense. And I have to say this. Global warming is real. Miami got a win against the Patriots. As I said, Mac Jones looked good. And I really do not think there's going to be a lot of bust when it comes to quarterback in this draft. If none. I think Mac Jones fits perfectly in New England. Gets the ball out quickly, makes quick decisions, finds the open man, methodically driving down the field. And as he gets more confident, he'll be able to throw a deep ball. They have good tight ends. What's up with tight ends? Are they just super unguardable now? Or have they morphed into this monster of a thing? Sort of like linebackers, where linebackers probably weren't running 4.4s and weren't 6'3", 250, running 4.4s, but now they are. Is that how tight ends are? Where they're just 6'4", 6'5" dudes running 4.4s and can't put a linebacker on them because that, I guess, detracts from the defense? Again, I'm not a football dude, but I'm just noticing. I talked about Aaron Rodgers earlier, how he used to run away and was elusive in the pocket. He doesn't do it as much. And I'm thinking maybe it's because of these linebackers. I remember the first one who was like that was maybe C.J. Mosley, if I'm getting the name right. Alabama guy. If I'm not mistaken, he played for the Ravens, if he doesn't play for them anymore. He may have played for the Jets, but I do remember C.J. Mosley, Alabama dude. where he was the first guy who was running like a 4.4, 4.5, 6'4", 6'3", 250. You know? And that's why Aaron Rodgers can't do what he does, because those guys are huge, his size, faster than him. I believe when Aaron Rodgers first entered the league, linebackers weren't doing that. But Tua looked good, man. Trust the process, Miami. All the second-year quarterbacks look good. All of them won their games. And I think it's important. The most important victory for the second-year quarterbacks was Tua. I think he has the most pressure. And when you're under pressure, it's good to feel comfortable and confident. And he does. He doesn't necessarily have the huge, deep ball. He's sort of a game manager. But as time progresses, like Mac Jones, like Zach Wilson, like Trevor Lawrence, gets more comfortable in the offense, it's going to be scary. It's going to be scary. Dolphins NFC is not the conference, all of the above they're in. The AFC East, look out for the Dolphins, ladies and gentlemen. Look out for the Dolphins. I saw Tua live, and at first I thought it was a con. I saw Tua live because I missed the Browns-Chiefs game, but for podcast sake, I will say this. It may have been more important I saw that game. So, thank you, Paramount Plus. Got rid of got rid of HBO Max. Got Paramount Plus. HBO Max was like $15 a month. Paramount Plus is $5 a month. Saving $10. And I have a sports podcast, and Paramount Plus has Champions League. And it has your local NFL games. So when I think about it in hindsight, good business decision. It's the small things in life, ladies and gentlemen. It's the small things. See, let's think about this. Over a year, I will save over $100. Because it's really, I will save about $100. I will save exactly $100. With taxes and stuff. But I will save around $100. Paramount Plus, ladies and gentlemen, this is a free advertisement. But speaking of comfortability, if that is a word, I believe so. My intro to vocational assessments class, it is a word, I believe. Very important comfortability in vocational assessments to see where disabled people are able to, what kind of job workforce they're able to go into, right? Are they comfortable in that system? If you want to know more on Intro to Vocational Studies, DM Peng Sports Podcast, and we'll talk about it. I'm studying it right now. I'm taking a class on it. I'm not studying like the profession. I am studying the profession. Intro to Vocational Studies. If you want to know more, DM the Peng Sports Podcast on Instagram or Twitter, or email us at pengsportspodcast@outlook.com. But speaking of comfortability, I'm getting a little comfortable on this podcast. Baker Mayfield looks comfortable. And I think he knows what it takes to win now. He understands the Browns. And sometimes understanding is the best thing. Back to school, abnormal psychology. I'm studying right now and doing the podcast 2 and 2. Abnormal psychology. The humanistic approach created by Carl Rogers. He has a method where he just understands people. And I forget the name of the method, which shows me I need to study more. He just understands the people, and he doesn't try to interpret, just understanding. Actually, I'm going to look at it right now. I'm going to give you the answer to the question. Client-centered therapy. And yes, this is the Peng Sports Podcast, and you may not want to hear about abnormal psychology and intro to vocational assessments. But tough nubs. Tough nubs. The more you know, ladies and gentlemen, the more you know. But Baker Mayfield is very comfortable, and he understands the Browns' offense. He's not trying to win games. He sort of thought it was Oklahoma, if that makes sense. And I could understand that. He was the number one pick in the draft. They want me to win games. I need to win these games. They get a new coach, and the coach tells them, and at first I really truly believe Baker Mayfield probably had some pushback with the coach. Hey, yo, Baker. I believe his name's Kevin Stefanski. I believe that's the coach's name for the Browns. And what he probably told Baker at first was like, yo, we're going to run the ball down the throat. We have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And we're going to play action the heck out of people. And you just get the ball to Jarvis Landry and Odell. And Njoku. That's all you need to do. Probably some pushback at first. But Baker Mayfield has come around and he understands the Browns and he knows what to do. And that's what you need. See, Aaron Rodgers on the Browns may not work. Justin Herbert on the Browns may not work. Teddy Bridgewater on the Browns probably will work. But that's neither here nor there. But they need a quarterback who's not going to be the guy who needs to win games for them. Baker Mayfield will bail you out once or twice a game, which is what you need sometimes. But he knows, let the talent do the work. Let the talent do the work. Why do I have to be the guy when I can, if the goal is winning, why not? I don't believe Baker's going to sign for a super duper max. And I do believe that the Browns will have the money to buy another receiver when Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham leave because Baker Mayfield decided not to sign the super duper max. I think he understands the Browns. And don't get it twisted. People think that, yeah, man, don't get it twisted, dog. No, but don't get confused that this Browns offense looks better without Odell Beckham. Because it doesn't. It's only going to get better when Odell Beckham comes back. Because now the offenses are just honing in Jarvis Landry. Well, what happens when you have to hone in on Odell? Even a 70-85% Odell. Odell is such an old grandma's name. Odell. If you didn't know about Odell Beckham Jr., if you heard the name Odell, you would be like, oh, that's an old grandma's name. 100%. But anyways, Browns legit. And the Ravens have a huge task ahead of them in the AFC North. And I'm not less confident in my pick, but they have a huge task against them. They're supposed to beat the Raiders. The Steelers look good. And we should have probably expected this from the Steelers. And I also want to say, they know more than us, ladies and gentlemen. They know more than us. Because wasn't the problem the Steelers lost too many offensive linemen and they're going to be one of the worst offensive lines in the league? Well, they have something called backups. I'm pretty sure Mike Tomlin's prepared. He won the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, I doubted them. I didn't think that. They allowed 2 sacks, which is about the average. And for a new offensive line who doesn't have the chemistry, I'll say that's pretty decent. Right? Great game by the Steelers. Bills. Well, we'll see about the Bills. Ravens, as I said, got upset by the Raiders. And it was a lot that went into that. I think the Ravens are going to be fine, though. It's a chemistry thing. with Marcus Peters not being there. It's Raiders' first game in new stadium. You know, that kind of ordeal. Lot of emotions. Lamar Jackson fumbled twice, which won't probably happen again in another game this season. He had 5 last season, and for the amount of times he runs, you take that every single day of the week. Right? Ravens still win the AFC North, but I'm very confident the Browns and the Steelers make the playoffs. I really believe that the Ravens at best could go 4-2. I think the Steelers and Browns will be tied at 3-3. Bengals go 2-4. Mathematically, does that make sense? I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised also if I saw the Ravens, Steelers, Browns all go 3-3, and that out-of-conference schedule determines who gets the 1 seed in the division and gets that bye. They may not even, that division won't get a first round bye probably. Home field advantage, but first round bye probably not. Because they're just going to beat up on each other. Right? I think that's the same case in the NFC East. There's not a real punching bag in that division. The Giants are going to be a tough team to beat. Cowboys look good. Eagles look good. I forgot to mention Jalen Hurts. Great game by Jalen Hurts. Was going to start differentiating teams, and I didn't look it up, but I will have it next week, and I'm very interested to see how rushing has a big effect on who wins. Because everyone's throwing for 200 yards. Aaron Rodgers threw for 100-something yards. Jameis Winston threw for 100-something yards. But mostly everyone's throwing for 200 yards. Maybe Tua threw for 100 yards. But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm trying to say is, when everyone's doing the same, if that's the bare minimum and everyone's doing that, there has to be things that differentiate teams. And that's the problem with, not the problem, but the thing with the Chiefs, right? Patrick Mahomes throws for 300 yards, so was Teddy Bridgewater. So is Justin Herbert. So what's differentiating them? And that's the problem when we get later into the season. Is the rushing differentiating them from the pack? Because the Tennessee Titans rushing by the end of the season will be differentiating them from the pack with Derrick Henry when he gets going. The Miami defense is going to differentiate them from the pack at the end of the season. The Bills. Again, the Bills, probably the most inconclusive team in the league where we just know nothing about them. What's going to differentiate them? Because Zach Wilson, Jalen Hurts is almost doing what Zach Wilson's doing. Not Zach Wilson. I'm just getting everyone confused. Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts is doing what Josh Allen is doing. Can rush for 50 yards, throw for 250 yards. 300 total yards plus. The Ravens at the end of the season, what's going to differentiate them is Lamar Jackson. Steelers, experience. What differentiates the Chiefs and the Bills? Those are my two teams I'm the most worried about. Having not a big drop-off, but sort of giving us false gold because they're going to be decent. But during the playoffs times, what's going to be the difference? Because last year we saw with the Chiefs, the offense went down a little bit, not a lot, but the offense went down a little bit, and their defense wasn't good enough. Isn't good enough when their offense isn't A+, A+, A+. When the offense is clicking, that defense is good enough. But last year and part of this year, I believe, well, just week 1, we saw that offense isn't. Some teams are sort of figuring them out a little bit, right? But the NFC East, nothing's differentiating those teams. Washington play the Giants. Download Yahoo Sports app right now if you don't have NFL Network. Get it on your iPad and download it. Watch the NFL game. Watch the Giants versus Washington tomorrow. I'm going to be watching it. It's going to be exciting because I have a test tomorrow. I have no more psych. But download Yahoo Sports, pause the video, download it right now so when it's 8 o'clock and the game's about to come on, you're not panicking because for some reason technology likes to mess up during those times. I don't know why, but it does. I got Washington 13-9, and I guess it's predictions time. No? Okay. The Jaguars did lose. I guess we have to talk about that. But the Colts and the Titans did as well, so we're in good shape. Still in good shape. Not in good shape for losing it, but we're still in playoff hunt. Not we, the Jaguars. Last year, the Jaguars won their first game and went 1-15. So you do not know. It's a long game in sports, and there's only pros out of week 1. Remember that in life and in sports. Only pros in week 1. Jaguars can get better. And if you won week 1 like the Texans did, good start to the season. Predictions now. Predictions. Most likely on American football and other sports I don't know a lot about. Like ping pong. Predictions. And the Peng Sports Podcast record for the NFL is 9-7. I said already I have Washington football team winning against the Giants. Steelers will beat the Ravens. Raiders are legit. But, well, we'll see if they're legit. If they beat Pittsburgh, we'll see if the Raiders are legit. But I'm going with Pittsburgh. Eagles. Eagles. Did I do that right? I'm not doing that again. I may cut it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did the Eagles chant. And it just didn't sound as good as I thought. So if it sounds like I cut something out, I did. I did cut it out. But Eagles, 49ers. I got the 49ers. Texans, Browns. Odell plays, but he will be limited. We're going to see a little sneak peek of what this offense can have in store. With a limited Odell, probably. And, as I said before, Baker Mayfield, the Browns quarterback, knows his role, and good for him, and good for the Browns. I got the Browns if I did not make that clear. Saints versus Panthers. Going with the Panthers. Colts, Rams. Colts, unlike the Jaguars, will be going 0-2. The Colts lost their first game, so they will lose to the Rams, which will make them 0-2. Just in case if you didn't understand, the Peng Sports Podcast is choosing the Rams. Just in case if it went over your head. Jaguars will beat the Broncos. Broncos, they look good. They look good against the Giants. I think they can definitely split the series with the Raiders, definitely split the series with the Chargers, and maybe pull off an upset against the Chiefs. That's the kind of team that playoff teams beat. And if you're a playoff team, you beat the Broncos, right? There's teams like that. The Panthers in that division. The differentiating teams. See, there's different differentiations. There's a differentiation between the playoff teams. Are you going to separate yourself from the playoff teams? And then there's the base level of that, I guess. Are you going to separate yourself to get into the playoffs? And to separate yourself to get into the playoffs, you beat teams like the Broncos. You beat teams like the Panthers. All right? You beat teams like the Giants. You beat teams like the Raiders. Right? When the Browns play the Raiders, if they play the Raiders, they're going to beat them. See, the Jaguars Jaguars are a playoff team, but the Jaguars may lose to the Raiders. Or the Washington football team may lose to the Raiders. Or be more competitive than you like. Right? The Colts are on that same level. Are you a playoff team? You beat the Colts. Good team, but you beat the Colts. See, the Seahawks beat the Colts. They're a playoff team. The Packers, if they played the Colts in week 8, probably beat them. There's just levels to this, ladies and gentlemen. There's levels to this. Where am I right now? Bills versus Dolphins. May have said this already, but I'm going back. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, change is good. Maybe the name of the podcast should be Ladies and Gentlemen, because I'm saying that quite a bit. The Dolphins have changed, but I have the Bills. We'll see this week. I got the Dolphins though. Patriots, Jets. I think it's going to be sort of a shootout. I think it's going to be a good game. Zach Wilson gets his first victory. The rookies are going to get their first victories. Did any rookie get a win? Trey Lance, I'm not counting that. He won, but he didn't play. Bears, Bengals, one quarterback transferred into Ohio State. The other transferred out of Ohio State. Who or which quarterback did the action of transferring out? And which quarterback did the action of transferring in? Find out next week, episode 29. Not episode 29, episode 30 of the Peng Sports Podcast. But this podcast, you will figure out who we are predicting here. And we predict the Bears to win that game. Falcons, Bucks, the least stressful pick of this week. The Buccaneers. Cardinals, not the Cards, Cardinals versus the Vikings. I got the Cardinals. And I was wrong with J.J. Watt. He is a game changer. Those 6 sacks and J.J. Watt joining is not a coincidence. It's not. It's not. Cardinals are probably the week 1 Super Bowl favorites, if that's a thing. The Titans will be back. The Titans are the Manchester City of the NFL. Over time, when you get tired, we're still going to be fresh. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to pass the ball down your throat. Passing's with Manchester City. Running's with Tennessee. By week 17, the Titans will be Super Bowl favorites. And by week 24, Manchester City will probably be the favorites in the Premier League. Oh, Titans, Seahawks. I guess I have to predict that one. Did I predict Cardinals, Vikings? Cardinals. But Titans, Seahawks. I got the Seahawks. I said all that about the Titans. Again, it's only week 2. Seahawks. The NFC West division champions. And I see what the NFL's doing with the scheduling, putting the toughest conference against the weakest conferences. I see it. Because NFC West has a biased AFC South schedule. And let's be honest, the AFC South is in a rebuilding phase, like La Liga is in a rebuilding phase. The AFC North play the AFC West. The AFC North have a AFC West biased schedule. And I think they have like a NFC North biased schedule. Because outside of the Packers, are the Bears really legit? No. So the AFC North. And it works out for COVID. Are the Lions really legit? Nah. Are they playoff contenders is what I should say. Now, the Vikings really that phenomenal? No. I see what the NFL's doing. They're not slick. Also, like teams in the AFC West. Because the AFC North have a AFC West biased schedule, I believe, as well. But teams in the AFC West, out of the outside of the Chargers, and of course the Chiefs, I believe the Jaguars have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl than them, and within the next 5 years. Like everyone in the NFC East, the Jaguars have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl. Yes, including the Cowboys. In some instances, in the AFC West, I would say the Jaguars may have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl in the next 5 years than the Chiefs. Yeah. Not really a hot take. I can say it with a straight voice. I only said it with a high voice because I'm trying to be compelling, of course. But I think the Jaguars have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl in the next 5 years than the Chiefs. 100%. You know why? Because they have something called a vision. Patriots have a vision, Jaguars have a vision, Dolphins have a vision, Jets have a vision, even the Seahawks have a vision. I don't think the Chiefs have a vision. I think the Chiefs expect we're sort of going to wing this bad boy. And winging test does not work. It doesn't work unless you have photographic memory. It just doesn't work. The Chiefs don't have a vision. The Broncos don't have a vision. The Raiders don't really have a vision. Everyone in the NFC East really don't have a division, and that's why I say the Jaguars have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. Arsenal have a vision. I don't think a lot of people see it, but I think they have a vision. Yet, let their young talent grow. And yes, we're talking about the other football. We're also talking about predictions. Cowboys versus Chargers. One team with a vision, one team without a vision, I believe. And visions, the good thing about visions, you can get them anytime. So the Broncos, you can get a vision at the end of this season if you want to. You can get them. That's the great thing about visions. But I don't think they have one. The Cowboys don't have one. The Chargers do. And it's Justin Herbert. But Cowboys get their first win of the season, including the preseason. I believe they went 0-4 in the preseason. And they lost week 1 against the Bucks. So they're 0-5. They need a victory. 1-5. If they don't win this season, it's the kind of game that makes a season go from 11-6 to a 9-8 season. If they lose this week. You know? So, let's see what's up. Lions versus the Packers. I will be watching the Manning feed. You should tune in as well. If the Lions won last week, I'd be a lot more confident in this pick. But the Packers. Chiefs versus Ravens, I guess the marquee matchup of the week. I'm going with the Chiefs. As I said, early season, they're like Manchester United. Early season at home games, that's money in the bank for the Chiefs. No pressure. That's house money Chiefs. Is it over for the dream? Yes, it is. They tried. They played decent. And yes, I'm transitioning from the NFL to the National Basketball Association. The Women's National Basketball Association. The playoffs are basically a lock with the dream sort of falling out a bit. 3rd and 4th seed in the West there's still a little competition there. Who's going to get 3 and 4? And I will say this until this playoffs start. I will say this until the first round of the playoffs end. The Storm and the Mercury are going to be very tough outs, whoever gets the 4th seed, for the Aces. It's going to be good entertainment, and it's going to be fun. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot to say about the WNBA. It's not because I didn't watch them, because I don't like them. It's because there's a lot of stuff going on in the sporting world. NFL season just started. College football season just started. NBA basketball. Some little stuff is going on. Ben Simmons. I haven't talked about Ben Simmons. And I will not talk about Ben Simmons because good for Ben. Good for Ben Simmons. You don't want me, so I'm going to leave. I see what Doc Rivers said. I don't know. Come on, Doc. I see what Daniel Morey's trying to do, trying to trade me. You don't want me, I don't want you either. That's disrespectful by the 76ers. Not everyone has to know everything, man. I'm starting to catch on to Doc Rivers' game, too. I'm starting to catch on to it. I was a little blinded. My guy Tim told me to watch out for Doc Rivers, and I said no. He's an African-American coach. He's a good guy. But just because we share the same race doesn't mean you're necessarily a great guy. I think he's a good guy all in all, 100%. But it's something a little fishy with Doc Rivers. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The Clippers was a little shaky. Now in Philadelphia, it's already a little shaky. I don't remember him in Orlando, so I can't really say anything. But anyways, I'm not focused on the WNBA right now because I'm really just, it's like the NBA season, right? When it gets close to the end of the season, you know, sometimes there may be an 8th seed battle, but we're just waiting for the playoffs, honestly. We're waiting for the playoffs. I also want to say this before I end the podcast. We're going on 53 minutes right now. Maybe a little less. But the Rattlers beat the Wolfpack, if I'm not mistaken. FAMU beat Fort Valley State. I know that's the name of the school, Fort Valley State, in Georgia. I thought they were in Mississippi, but in Georgia. Shout out to HBCUs. FAMU play USF this week. Upset alert. Upset alert. And this has been the Peng Sports Podcast, episode 29. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting me. Have a good week. And we will be back next week, same time. Next week, similar time. This has been Come On Dance's Peng Sports Podcast, episode 20.